This is Marvel Rivals. And this is Overwatch. Looks pretty similar, right? What if I told you that Rivals was actually a copy of Overwatch? Yeah, I know, that's not super hard to believe. Anyway, what's up YouTube? I've got a question for all of you watching. Do you prefer Rivals or Overwatch? Sounds like an easy comparison until you look at the reality of both games. When you take a closer look at them, you realize, wait a minute, it's the exact same thing. Aside from Rivals having one of the largest IPs in the world to draw inspiration from, the gameplay is almost identical. Both titles are currently some of the leading team-based multiplayer hero shooters in the world. Rivals released earlier this year to bring back the original Overwatch players that abandoned the game because of a few minor issues.
Like I said,
you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Look
like
at you. Your damage is low. Your healing is low. You got mercy. Come on. People got 10,000 worth.
Activision Blizzard made it very clear that Overwatch was gonna be left in the dust after they announced the cancellation of their PvE mode for Overwatch 2. That was until Rivals came around. In a matter of weeks, Rivals was the most popular game in the world, taking the title as the highest rated game of 2025. Rivals was consistently crushing their new numbers, putting Overwatch 2 to shame in the corner. Developers for Blizzard began to wonder to themselves, maybe canceling the PvE campaign we promised to our players years ago really was a bad idea. No, just kidding, that thought never even crossed their mind. In reality, the executives at Activision were feeling extra hungry for more greens. They needed to revive a classic old reliable. And they landed on Overwatch. Why Overwatch? Because it was the only title that could compete with the new challenger. Or I guess you could say rival. How could they revive the game that lost its player base due to failed promises and better competition? Easy. Just copy the competition. Wait, but wouldn't that mean that the copycat is Overwatch for copying the original copy of Overwatch? Yeah, that's really confusing. That's how we got to today. Season 18 of Overwatch 2 features hero bands, a stadium mode, and even hero perks. Wait, did you say hero bands? Yes, I did. Despite Activision originally denying the idea of hero bands, largely because it's unhealthy for the game, they eventually caved in. Why would they do that? Because they saw the success of Rivals doing it. Rivals copied the success of Overwatch, and then Overwatch copied the success of Rivals. Are we stuck in a loop of playing identical yet drastically different games? Why do people choose Rivals before Overwatch and vice versa? It's become clear that both games have very dedicated fan bases. The only reason Overwatch even partially survived its years of downtime was the core competitive community that kept the spirit of the game ignited. Rivals released to the public under a year ago, and it suffers from drastic plummets in player count. Is the new competition healthy for the market? The answer is yes. The release of Rivals essentially forced the Overwatch developers out of their cave. They realized they couldn't just dump the same rotation of content on the players every year. There would be no players left. Very quickly, players noticed major improvements in every update, even adding controversial features that the developers didn't initially want. They had to experiment with new ideas and release new game modes to keep the game fresh. This competition between the two became a content cycle, racing to see who could do the most in the least time. Nowadays, the player counts are much closer together. Rivals originally had a huge step up on Overwatch, now the competition is very equal. I actually think this is really good for both communities. Both player bases can expect great content with every new update. Everyone has something to look forward to. So that brings me back to my original question. Is the new competition healthy? Yes, it is very healthy. Rivals' release might have actually saved Overwatch. But how do you guys feel about the future of both games? Which one do you pick to play?